Welcome back to another episode of Overrated Everything. If you're new to the show, this is the podcast where we get a guest on each week to discuss a subject that they feel is overrated.
Yeah.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't agree.
A lot of the times we disagree.
Yeah.
But we have quickly discovered that it is the podcast where your favourite actors, singers, celebrities, whatever, love to moan, and we moan with them.
We all love a moan.
Love it.
We
Can't get
all
enough of
love
it.
a moan.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this podcast. People come on, have a little bit of a moan, and have some nice funny moments, and everybody gets a nice little podcast.
Exactly. And if you do love what we do, you can sign up to our Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/overrated everything. That just helps us secure better guests and just have an all-round neater podcast.
Yep. Should we put podcast down?
Enjoy.
Stick it on.
Danny Miller.
Yes.
Buzz in your ear, mate.
Well, thanks for having me.
We was literally just saying the last time we saw you was at your wedding.
Yeah, it will have been, which was nearly a year ago.
What date was it?
July the 22nd.
Yeah, you did well to remember that.
I didn't meet
I pretty much planned, I'd say 80% of it, so that date has well and truly stuck in my head.
Yeah. Did you do most of it? Because I know Steph's she's hands-on, and she knows that.
She is, yeah. She kind of knew what she wanted, but I don't know, kind of had a vision for it. We basically went for an OK magazine shoot at this place in Northwich.
Beautiful place.
Stunning, wasn't it?
Yeah,
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It was probably a little bit too small in terms of the rooms, but that's a boring story. But we did an OK shoot there to do the engagement and the baby announcement thing.
Yeah.
And it's always one of those really awkward shoots, and everyone's kind of really buzzing for you, but they're not really that buzzing. They just want you to stand there and smile and make you the pictures look pretty kind of thing. But we suddenly sat around and we wanted to get married in Greece, but I've with family who couldn't really travel and all that, and we said, why don't we do it here? And we sorted it out with the guy when we were there. We had dinner after it, and we sort of met him, and then he was friends of Adam Thomas and Ryan Thomas, and I thought, see if he'll do us a deal. So we booked to do the wedding there, and it was the best decision we made to do it over here, because the only problem with it was July. So that weekend when we booked it, they said, that's just to let you know, that's been the hottest day of the year for the last 3 years. All the weekends. So we're right. So we need to think about shade, and there's loads of kids, and we wanted a big sort of bouncy castle area and all that stuff. And,
oh God, yeah, I remember.
Do you remember?
A bouncy castle area for your wedding?
Well, yeah. So because between me and Steph, we've got 12 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
So we knew there was loads of them, and then the surrounding family have all got kids and cousins and stuff. So we thought we'll go for the kind of kid
family
thing.
friendly.
Yeah, so we can can almost
vibe,
Well, we had superheroes and princesses taking them off while the speeches were done, and they went
man.
and all that kind of thing. So we proper thought of the kids. Anyway, we got there on the Thursday. And we're having a little barbecue and that, and I just felt a little spitter of rain. I was like, no, and that would be fine. Then Friday woke up, and it was literally like a film. I just pulled up the blind, and as I did, it was leathering it down. And the day before, this company sort of said, just to let you know, we're expecting rain. So do you want to hire a gazebo? So everything is a grand extra.
Oh, mate, you slap the name wedding in front of... you can go to a bakery any day of the week and buy a cake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's what, max? Tenner?
Yeah.
If you put wedding in front of that cake, it's it's going to be like £400 per tier. Like, what?
Yeah.
So I was like, our budget was pretty much spent. So I said to Steph, something in my mind's telling me to get it, so I'm going to get it as a backup. And she went, what if we don't even use it? And I went, well, if we don't even use it, we take it on the chin. Anyway, I woke up on the Friday morning about 8:30, and it was leathering it down. And I came out the room, and there was just this woman stood there with a face, and I was like, it's here all day, innit? And she went, yeah. She went, do you want us to get the gazebo up? So it's like a bell tent. It wasn't a gazebo, it's a massive thing. It was nice, and we just went, yeah, sack it, let's get it up and do it under there, because the other option was to do it in this really dead hot room with no air.
So originally it was going to be outside?
Yeah. Well, it was still outside.
Yeah, I know, of course it was. Yeah, but
the idea was it was sunny and all that stuff. Yeah. But I always get in trouble off DPs and DOPs and stuff, because when the light shines in my eyes do that. That can't really tell a story, can it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I was worrying that all. Well, yeah.
You're talking to me, Kane. Huh?
I'll tell you something. But then the thing with it was it kind of then started making me panic about sweating, and then the okay pictures of me like that were just sweat dripping down, and then I thought, right, it's a blessing in disguise. So it ended up being alright in the end.
Yeah, it was.
And they look dead nice, don't they, them marquees?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, they did it all pretty and all that, and there's this
Yeah.
company called Red Floral who were just like an amazing sort of florist and decor sort of thing, and they made it look amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't have told that it wasn't part of the plan.
I think the highlight of the night for me was the Greatest Showman thing you did.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, have you got video? I don't think
Yeah,
I've seen
there's
it.
a video. I think I'll send it you. But
They went
there's-
all out of a
Yeah.
Greatest Showman thing.
Well, the thing with it was with me was I always watch first dances, and I always feel like the awkward groom who just sort of stood there and like,
Come on, come get involved.
2 bars of the song and you're getting everyone on, aren't you, and so up in it. But we ended up like watching Greatest Showman one day when we were on holiday in Lanzarote, weirdly, on like a rooftop cinema thing. It was mint.
What a film, by the way.
Oh, well, it was the
It's
first
one
time
of the
I'd
best
seen
films.
it. And Steph was
Did
like,
it
"You've
blow
not
you
seen
away?
it?" Oh yeah, I was crying, I was
Yeah.
laughing, I was up at the end, and it's a silent theatre as well, so you've got the headphones on.
Right. Oh,
So I'm
nice.
stood up and everyone's kind of turning around having the meals like, oh, what's he doing? I'm just going, yeah.
I remember
This is
Charlotte
the
put it on the
greatest
first
show.
time.
Yeah, mate.
When Charlotte put it on the first time, I was like, what is this shit? I'm not bothered. And then she fell asleep, and by the end of it, I was sat on the edge of my seat like,
Yeah.
that was the best thing
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
ever
yeah.
seen in my life.
Yeah.
And now I've seen it, and like, if it's
Yeah.
ever in the drive-in cinemas and that, I'm there.
Yeah,
I
but
love
it was the cringy factor of it as well, was that me and Steph met in primary school, and then we went through primary school, secondary school together, and
Yeah.
we had a relationship throughout, and then we kind of went that way, and I went off and did my thing, she went off and did her thing in midwifery, and 10, 12 years, and the 12 years in the NHS, band 6,
Yeah.
midwife,
Yeah,
did really well for herself, and I went off and did Emmerdale, and then we
And
kind of
she
just...
met a TV
and then-
star.
Yeah, and then
And
she
it all
she
changed.
lowered the standards for this. but the thing was like, it was like, this story's just like us. So
Yeah.
then I suggested the idea. Again, we were back in Lanzarote a few months later, and we were just driving, and I just said, we listened to the song, and I went, wouldn't this be amazing to do a song of like a spoof type thing? So we start as a slow dance. Everyone thinks it's going to be a boring, 'cause it's a long song as well.
Yeah.
You run off, get changed, and then I'll run and try and find you, and then the curtain drops, and we're stood there, and we're all doing it. So then we found this company. We're like, we know the dance. We'll teach it you. I'll sing the song. We're like, this is brilliant.
That's mint.
So
You
we
sang
did
the
it.
song?
God,
Oh, right,
God,
okay.
I couldn't get anywhere near the
No.
front. I think
No.
I was out the back
Yeah.
of the marquee because I couldn't get. Everyone was loving it.
Yeah.
Normally, first dance, everyone just stood at the bar going, "Oh, it's fine."
Yeah.
Everyone was all over
But
that.
the thing is, as a typical actor, you pick holes in your performance. So I watched it back and I was like, I'm out of time. So the first thing is like we all start doing that, and I'm kind of already watching. I'm like, whoa, I missed it. And then my head goes, and like there's like the curtain sort of thing there. Don't trip over that. And it was at my heart. It was in my mouth throughout the whole thing, and it turned out to be quite funny, and it was a bit of taking the piss in that, which was
Yeah.
I love that because, like you say, weddings need that, don't they? That
Yeah.
little bit of like
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
corny kind of like, oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna
Different.
inject that. Yeah.
Having something a bit different over it because your wedding was quite traditional, wasn't it?
A little bit. We had like little bits in
Yeah,
there.
like
Like
you
we
had
had
the
like
barbershop quartet.
barbershop quartet came
That was
in,
brilliant.
Oh,
but
nice.
they were singing like
South Park.
"Angel" by Shaggy and it was all like hip hop songs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
it
how
was
I
good.
kind of wangled it because I'm into my hip hop, and we watched them, and my wife went, "Oh, they're really good."
Yeah.
But,
They're great on Family Guy, aren't they, that barbershop?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Really
are. Yeah, they
offensive.
are,
Yeah. My wedding was really traditional, and it's kind of like
You're a
we-
hypnotist.
Yeah, we loved our wedding.
Did
It
you?
was- It was brilliant. Yeah, it was really good. But then, no, the more, especially with like modern society, the way that with social media, people are trying to outdo each other, and more ideas are coming in, and you see people's weddings, and you get these great ideas. But now I'm kind of like, oh, we could have done loads more.
Yeah, but I think you do, because I think people pick up on new ideas and create new ideas, and then it
Yeah.
makes you go, oh yeah, that is a good idea. But because I watched loads of like Greatest Showman things, and a lot of it was just sort of like the music, nothing to it as such. But we had all the jackets
Yeah,
and all that
but you
stuff.
went for it, didn't you?
So there was
Nice.
nothing that I'd have changed about it, and it got me away from having to do the dance thing, because we got to this rehearsal and this guy was like, right, okay, and we're going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6, and I was like, mate, right, break that all down for me because that's far too quick for me. And he went, no, it's just done. And I was like,
Yeah.
you're not helping. So I just said, I'll tell you what, why don't Steph do it and I'll just do that. So in the end, she ends up doing it 'cause
She-
she's
yeah.
so
And
good
you're
at
just
it.
kind of.
Yeah.
I just got away with sort of being like,
Nice.
so I just said I'm going to have to channel a Mr. Bean type character in it to
Yeah,
get away
yeah,
with it,
Yeah, just make it a bit
which
more.
is just very facial and I don't know what I'm doing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we got away with it.
Which is like a wedding planning,
Yeah.
like a marriage. It's
Yeah.
all symbolic.
Well,
Another one we was just saying off camera as well. You'll have to remind me of his. Is it Zach? who plays Kane Dingle. He's not Zach. No. What's his name?
Zach Dingle, who plays Kane Dingle. No.
Yeah. No.
Jeff.
Jeff. Sorry.
Jeff,
Yeah. So I and we spoke about something similar with Adam Rowe, one of our previous guests. Is something happened on one of my nights out, which you've been a part of loads of times. My wild nights out.
Yes.
So I went to a gig in Leeds, and it was Sam Fender. It was a tiny little venue. And it was one of them that got out of hand. It was like getting home at stupid o'clock. And I woke up in the morning, I was looking through my photos. And I was just scrolling through and I said, is that fucking Zach Dingle? From Emmerdale. I was like, not Zach, I said,
no,
that's
Kane.
That's Kane Dingle. They said,
no, it's not
Zach. I
Zach.
was scrolling through and I said, the fucking, did we meet Kane Dingle last night? My mate was like, yeah, mate, can you not remember? I was like, no, but it happened because I've got this photo on my phone. So then I see him at your wedding and I went over to him and I was like, mate, I said, we met at Sam Fender, obviously because of this photo. And he was like, yeah, can you not remember? I said, I ain't got a Scooby.
She's not like you.
She's not like me. But then we recreated the photo at the wedding, which I thought was quite funny. But he's a nice guy, isn't he?
He's top, yeah, and
they all are.
They all are, and you know the thing was I was out of Emmerdale for over a year anyway. And I'll be honest, like a lot of the time, the OK magazine who were covering it, they were kind of saying who's coming and who's, like sort of thing. And I was like, well, this is who I've invited, this is who said who's coming, and whatever else happens after that is out of my control. Not one of them let me down.
No,
I think one had to because of work, which was, you were asking on a Friday in the middle of July to ask for 12 members of Castle to be off on the same day. So even though I wasn't there, ITV and Emmerdale really did what they could to make sure all the people that wanted there were there. So it was really appreciative of it, and Jeff was there and his wife Zoe who plays Rona, and there's a couple who couldn't make it. Lucy who plays my mum Chaz in it, and
it was amazing for me. I grew up watching Emmerdale, so I was like looking around, just seeing everyone. I was like, this is fucking mint.
Well, it got to a point where my wife Steph, one of her family members, is a huge Emmerdale fan, and she kept coming over to me during the afternoon and the evening. So I was saying, I really just want to go and say hello. I went, they won't mind, just go and say hello. So I ended up dragging them over there. But then the highlight of it for me was my mum is proper quiet, and she's met them a couple of times at awards and stuff like that, but she's proper quiet. And then when she's had a drink kind of thing, she doesn't become flamboyant or anything, but she certainly becomes a different version of herself.
A bit more confident.
So then I walked over to the table because she must have been sat there talking to the Emmerdale cats, but they're all leaning in engrossed in this conversation, going, that's got to be about me, that right, I'll go over and see what's happening kind of thing. And all of the Emmerdale lot said, she's fine, go away. And this was Charlie Webber who played Debbie, and she's like,
she's wicked, by the way.
You don't mess with me kind of person, but lovely in the inside as well. And she just said, go away, I'm talking to my new best friend. And she was with Emma, who plays Charity as well. And then after it, the whole highlight of the wedding, which, to me was a little bit of a... She said the highlight for me was just sitting there talking to such beautiful people, the Emmerdale cast. Like, that was your highlight. I'm not disagreeing.
You did well as well, son. Well done with your speech.
That dancing thing was alright. But I
wouldn't have been surprised if we're dancing. Mum's still there, going, I've seen it.
But they all are, aren't they? Everyone that I've met, obviously we met loads of people over the years from soaps and stuff, and it's but it's so weird because they're in everyone's room 4 or 5 times a week. It's so weird to the only time I've really ever been starstruck, and I don't know if I've spoke about this on the podcast before, but me and my dad flew in from somewhere. We'd been somewhere with This Is England. We'd been to a film festival, and we got the train from Manchester Piccadilly, and there's a bar upstairs. I'm not sure if it's still there.
Right. Yes.
And we got to the bar, and I was only 14, 15, and I remember standing at the bar and looking to my left. And Bruce Jones was there, who obviously played Les Batman. I shit you not, I was fumbling. I was I called him Les straight away, hated me straight from the off. And I was trying to explain to him how I just worked with Shane Meadows. Because he'd worked with Shane Meadows on 24/7, I think, years ago. And I was this little kid who called him Les, trying to say to him that I'm the lead in a Shane Meadows film, and he was just like, because it hadn't been released at this point. So he was just like, all right, of course you are, mate. But I honestly had no idea what to say to him. So it's weird when you meet people in soaps.
Good story about Bruce Jones, right?
Oh God.
It's
that's never a good start.
No. It is actually quite a good story because I didn't fully believe him. So we've got a caravan down in Abergele, which weirdly is right next to the Amsterdam Castle. Right? But I bought that years before I went in Amsterdam. I didn't buy it, trying to cling on to winning it. So anyway, I ended every time I went for a drink in Abigail, someone said, "Oh, so you're not the only celeb around here. You know, Bruce Jones. You remember Les Battersby?" I was like, "All right, yeah." You know, I'd never met him before. So anyway, randomly during the COVID
You're not the
time,
only celeb around.
I know, yeah, like I was
Like
walking,
a
like I walked in morning, pint of lager, please. Only celeb literally in this whole village, as if he was there. But anyway, I just sort of passed it by, and then randomly after about 3 or 4 times going in this place, and it was COVID heavy then, and everyone had the masks on and stuff. Bruce Jones come over. And he goes, "I've been waiting to meet you. I've heard that you're not the only celebrity." I was like, "Is this like a script?"
It's like some out of Hot Fuzz.
Like they're all sort of going, "You're not the only celeb around here." Going, I'm aware of it. I've been told I'm not the only celeb. I'm not claiming to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, he went on to say to me, he was like, "What are you doing now with yourself?" And I said, "I'm just taking a year off and just sort of, I'm in a luxury position for the next few months where I can sort of possibly pick work here and there and maybe not acting, but more sort of celebrity reality thing off the back of I'm a Celeb." And I've never been in a position like that before, so I'm kind of enjoying that sort of thing.
That, yeah.
And he said, "Well, I've just signed a contract to do 32 films in 2 years." I was
What?
like, "What? What do you mean?" So I was like, and he was like, "And they're all blockbusters." Anyway,
What?
"Would you be in them, basically?" And I was like, "Oh, do you know what it is, Bruce? I don't want to be in 32 films, mate.
In a
year. And nothing against you. I'm sure you're great in them and stuff." Anyway, last week, right, it's random that you said that. Last week, Steph goes, "You know all that bullshit which we thought it was at the time that Bruce Jones told you about these films?" He went, "Well, look at that." And it was a press piece on Bruce Jones doing a film that's made it in Hollywood. So one of these 32, I mean, it's a massive stake.
Yeah.
1 in 32 is going to make it. But he's done this film, and you look at him, he looks completely different. All the effects and all this stuff have done it, and I've gone, "Shit, should I have said yeah?"
Hiya, Bruce, it's the other celebrity.
Bruce, yeah. Hey, Bruce. You know, I'm not the only celeb. But instead, I couldn't believe it, and I was reading, it was a full press piece, and it said from being homeless to Hollywood.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
this
because I
film
know
had
he
been
struggled
shown-
a lot
yeah,
with his own personal stuff and that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Fair play, man.
Yeah, fair play.
But
to
one
him.
thing I will say is, you know, like he certainly was to me anyway. He was a very, very nice guy.
Very nice
and,
bloke.
and,
yeah.
And yeah, it was just weird that you said that.
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
it's.
I could have been in
strange.
32 films with Bruce Jones. Who else could say that?
Easy could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mint, mate.
That's some going that. I'd like to do the calculations of that. If
How-
people
how many-
listening
Well,
can do that.
16 a year, and then 52 weeks in a year. So how many weeks are you spend? You're not getting much time off, are you?
No.
Is
Less
it
than-
possible to do 32 films in a year?
Bruce Jones has
Bruce
done it,
Jones
mate.
has done
It's
it,
been
mate.
done.
He's done. One's
If
in
one
Hollywood.
man can, it's
Yeah.
Bruce.
It's Bruce.
When you go past that, going back to that, because my gran used to own caravans in Abergele, and that's
Yeah,
why
right.
I grew up there. In a
Right.
sense, we were there every week.
So there was 3 celebrities in the village.
I wasn't by any
You know
means a
what I mean?
celebrity
How
then.
many
Still,
celebrities
still
has
not
this place
now.
got?
Well, listen.
But
God, it's like Manchester.
you know, like, do you still have it there now and stuff? The caravan. And that?
Yeah, still got it there.
Is
yeah.
it one of them, like, you know, like when people say, like, "Oh, the dad's a builder," and they can't drive past, like, an estate without going, "Oh, I laid the bricks for that." Do you now drive past and go, "Oh, I won the fucking
I'm the
crown
king
in
of that
that.
place. I'm the king of that
I'm the king of
Do you know
that,
what?
kids."
Where Abergele is, there's another place that our friends have got up the road, which is a really beautiful holiday cottage, and every now and again we'll go there instead of the caravan. And
Is he a celebrity?
No, she
She's-
and he is not.
Okay.
Well, there's a celebrity in that village, but I think there's about 16 people there.
Okay.
But we drive past it, so as we drive past it each time, so you're driving along the A55 up to Penamine Mower, it's called, and then the castle's there and you get a perfectly good view of it just for about 10 seconds.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And there is a bit where I'm driving and I'm looking like that, and I have said in the past, like, I remember being stood on top of there looking at the A55, and I find myself talking like my dad, but there was the moments where, you know, 2 weeks into it, it's freezing cold, it's raining, you stood outside just for a bit of fresh air and you're looking at all the I'm guessing in the jungle you probably wouldn't get to see that life outside
Civilization there,
You
yeah,
can see life.
So you can see life, yeah. I could
Because
literally
you're high on a
work-
hill. It's high on a hill.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it,
on
the
top
castle?
of a hill. It's a castle, isn't it? So it's on
Yeah.
top of a hill. And you're looking out, and I could literally, during the day, sort of work my way down to my caravan. So I could see my caravan from
that's
it.
crazy.
It was all closed up and stuff.
Yeah, because
That must have made it worse though. Like harder.
It made it harder, yeah, especially when the weirdest thing was everyone was panicking because this storm hit, which when we got evacuated for 2 days.
Yes.
So this storm thing hit, and they were going to evacuate us at like 2 a.m. when all the press had gone, and you know that it was safe to do so and all that stuff. And everyone was kind of going like, "Oh, God, I hope the family's all right and everything." And I was worried about my family, but obviously being less than a mile away from my caravan, I was going, "I hope my caravan's all right."
It's not blown over.
No, so then when I got out, like one of the first, you know, 20, 30 questions was, is the caravan all right?
Yeah.
And I bought it's such a boring story, but I bought this storage box, and my mum said it's ended up on next door's decking, so it's flipped up and gone on next door's decking. And I said, well, did you go and get it back? And she said, well, I couldn't go and knock on and say, can I have my storage box back? And it was all cracked and all that. But as I said, it was a boring story. But for me, it did make it worse because
I bet.
I kind of could see it all. And you could see the A55 and all that stuff. So now when I'm driving back the other way, it does make me on genuinely think, like, oh, I remember being stood there.
It does. It must get a bit, because I get a bit like that sometimes when I'm... So every time I get off the train at King's Cross with Charlotte, if we go to London...
Yeah.
We shot Somerstown with Shea Meadows in Somerstown, which is pretty much at the back end of King's Cross. And every time we walk past it, there's a Somerstown sign, like, welcome to Somerstown.
Yeah.
Every time I go Charlotte, I go, that's where we made Somerstown then. She's like,
I did it
told
with
me,
that.
I don't care.
I did it with that castle because, again, growing up round there, it was always closed off.
Yeah.
It was literally boarded up for years. And me and a couple of my mates, like, we went and we played, like, Manhunt and that in it. And, like, it was quite dangerous. Yeah, because it was, like, obviously hundreds of years old, whatever, but it was all fenced off. You couldn't get in it, but obviously us as teenagers, you know, we broke the fence and we got in. So I was doing, when I'm a Celeb was on in the castle, I was literally going, oh, look, to me oldest, I was like, oh, we used to jump off that and, like, do you know what I mean? That's where we used to, like, give each other digs or whatever, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you rather have done it in Australia or done it here?
Honest truth, no, I wouldn't. I'd been in the fortunate position before where they'd asked me a few times to do it.
Yeah.
And I know they've potentially asked.
Yeah, they've asked me a few times. Yeah. I'd love to do it, but
I was going to go around the house and then suddenly thought, oh, I probably shouldn't say this. I know they've asked a few people that you know, but yeah, you know, like they've asked and it's never been the right time, or you know, like I couldn't get time off Emmerdale the one time I was going to do it, and then they asked me to do it this particular year. I actually had a meeting the year before for it when it was in Wales, and it attracted me then, just because it was in. I don't like flying. I'm not scared of it. I just don't like flying. Yeah. I don't like long haul flights.
Being on a fart tube for 24 hours.
Well, exactly. Just like and I knew I would have Albert, who was young, and I'd have to leave him, you know, a week earlier and all that stuff. Anyway, I couldn't work out why they didn't want me the year before, but they'd have Bev Callard, Liz McDonald, Shane Ritchie, Alfie Moon, and somebody else. I can't remember. So I think all the soap positions were filled. Yeah. So you know what it's like when you get a no. It is downhearting. You know. It's hard to take sometimes. But then a lot of the time, I could work out why. So it makes it easier to deal with. Yeah. So then the year after, they said, "Would you come again and do it?" But we're going back to Australia. So I was like, I think it sounded to me like it was a now or never. We're not asking you again. So when it's going to be the perfect time, 'cause I'd handed in my notice for Emmerdale. I knew that I'd have 6 months off before I start this. Perfect time, and Albert was going to be born. I could spend loads of time with stuff. Anyway, we went on a holiday just before Albert was going to be born, and I was going into I'm a Celeb, so we booked this nice fancy holiday in Lanzarote. You can do fancy in Lanzarote, and we just said let's you know just go away, just the two of us, and went to an adults only place, you know, so there's no kids, and we was dead relaxed. And then my agent at the time rung me and said, just let you know, I'm a Celeb, want to talk. I was like, oh no, what have I done? You know, panic. Yeah, definitely. So they said, there's nothing that you've done, we just want to check you're still interested, kind of thing. And I said, why, what's happened? They said, Australia. I said, no, you can't come in to the country because the COVID numbers had jumped up again. So I said, all right, okay, well, where are you? We're going back to Wales to Great Castle. Are you still interested? So it was like, no. I was saying to staff, just 1 second, it was kind of like, you know, we talked about sort of negotiations about stuff, and I wasn't obviously interested, but you have to sort of, you can't just go, I'd definitely be up for it. It was kind of like, all right, you know, chill out. So anyway, I ended up doing it, which for me was just to have the experience, and, you know, I've always been honest about it. It was for the money, you know. I knew I wanted some time off, and I'd saved my money from Emmerdale, but this was like a nice bonus package.
Like you said, it was
give me potentially another year off.
Perfect timing with Whitland as well, wasn't it?
So I kind of went in there with that in my mind, that I was only really doing it for the money, and then.
And it, like the experience, like, did you ever fancy that experience?
Not necessarily, no, because I've had sort of chats about, you know, other stuff like that, like the SAS thing, and it scares the life out of me. So it was purely to do it for the money, but also to do it for the experience and a bit of exposure, because I knew I was leaving Emmerdale, so I didn't know what paths it could open and roads it could open or whatever. So I kind of just thought, well, I'll see what happens. And then it's weird how, like, you start thinking sort of the first, second, third, fourth, fifth person goes, and you go, oh, actually, maybe they like me kind of thing. And then you start to get a little idea that like they want to see a bit more of you because you get brought into the Telegraph a bit more and you get asked more questions and to narrate certain things for them. Because I think it's an experience, but you're also there to make a TV show, so there are a couple of production sort of notes they want to give you and say, oh, can you just direct us through what you did today in the challenge or how you did in the trial and all that kind of stuff. So it kept you sort of grounded. All right, I am still working.
You was in the group chat that we've all got for the footy for the charity that you run. It's Mint charity. You was getting peppered on the votes. Everyone was just every night just voting.
Well, you got to expect it, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
Because your mates want to do it just as much. You know, I mean, you look at Matt Hancock last year, and everyone was voting for him.
Yeah.
Even when he was smashing the trials, people were still voting for him. So not only is his mates probably going, oh, this is funny, people are going, I want to punish him.
I don't think he's got mates, has he?
Well, I don't know.
You're his mate, you really like it.
I do not.
He's a nice guy.
No, I do not.
Before we get into politics and all that shit. So obviously we spoke before, didn't we, about an overrated subject. I
love that. Before we get into politics, let's talk football.
Well, let's just change it.
Sorry,
let's just change it before it gets too deep. Your overrated subject for me was like, because like I was texting you the other day and I said that Grimsby Town have just benefited for what is our most successful run since 1939 in the FA Cup, down to VAR. But you did explain a little bit on a voice note, didn't you, about why it's sort of changed the game?
So my subject a bit of overrated was, I didn't know whose point of view it was from being overrated, but I would consider it's from the FA's point of view being overrated. They really seem to like it. Whereas I think there's a huge majority, but then within that majority, a small minority of people where I think I fall into, of someone who just absolutely despises it. And I understand how much it helps football and helps decisions and helps get the right decision and stuff, but sometimes it can ruin the game, it can ruin the flow of the game. And it really made me
you can't celebrate a goal anymore.
Well, this is it, because I think part of you, especially if it's all right if you're all around your home fans and you all celebrate because you all feel as stupid as each other when they go, oh no, there was a tug on the shirt.
When you're in the pub next to loads of Everton
especially if you're with your mates, and a lot of my mates being from Manchester, Man United fans, so if you watch it then you go, yeah, get in, they go offside from 16 minutes ago, you go, and then you look stupid. So for me it was overrated in the fact that they seem to really back it. Yeah. And it's actually made me fall out of love of football. You were saying. Which is
because you've grown up loving footy and playing footy.
Yeah, and my mate said, oh, is this because Liverpool aren't winning anymore? And I go, no, I go back to last year, even when they were challenging for the league out of City in the previous 3 or 4 years. And you're playing all these money for, like Neymar went to PSG for 150 million quid, and I go, I get it, it's a business, but it's so exposed and so publicised these days. Yeah. That 150 million, nobody bats an eyelid at, and you go, we're living in a world now where people are having to use food banks that are nurses, doctors, firefighters and stuff, and we're all bothered about outbidding Man United, Man City, Chelsea, whoever, Tottenham, to go and spend 90 million on a football player like Declan Rice. He was another one that I was nearly going to say was overrated. I don't think he's overrated as such, but I think he's a player that stands out in quite an average team. How he'd get on if he went into a United, a City.
Well, I think there's a lot of the same with a lot of big players. Like you get players that are doing really well at the clubs, but then they go to a different. Yeah. And as soon as they go to a big team, let's say, they just don't. They just don't perform as well, do they? Do you know what I mean?
But a friend of mine is really good friends with a scout who works now. He used to work weirdly. I don't know how it's never got out in the press. He used to work for United. He now works for City. So he's sort of like a smaller type academy scout, but scouting the players to hopefully boost to go forward. Yeah. Which is amazing because City have brought through about 2 players in the last 20 years.
Yeah, but they're just buying them.
But anyway, it kind of really like bugged me when he said that, like, I was like, how can you put a price tag on Declan Rice of 120 million quid? And they go, well, the price goes up by a huge percentage if they can speak English. Obviously, if they're English, it goes up even more. But if they can speak English, because they don't have to worry about the language barrier and the breakdown of communication. Because it's done like that because they can speak English. So that adds money onto it. And
it's wild, isn't it?
So, but then weirdly, when the European Super League thing came up, and I thought, how dare you? After all these years of us supporting this team, the Americans have come in and just went, let's make it bigger. Let's put the little fans off, and we'll make it bigger so everyone can do it. I thought, how cheeky is that? And it was something they stood by. And then our owner John Henry came out and said, FSG are really sorry, and we shouldn't have done all this kind of thing. And I thought, you're not sorry. You're sorry that everyone's kicked off about
Yeah,
it. So everyone went, what a great idea.
It's like you're not sorry,
yeah,
you're
we're
only sorry you
geniuses.
got caught,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So then I went and bought 2 season tickets for Stockport County.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Because I thought, I'd rather watch lower league football, and even if we get, I support them up into the Premier League.
Well, Grimsby Town have actually done the double over Stockport this year, haven't they?
They have, yeah. But where are they?
Below Stockport.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So anyway, that for me was like, even if we get to the Premier League and they go, oh, we'll have a bit of the European Super League, I'll move on and go support Ashton United or Curzon Ashton.
Do you not like buzz more off the lower leagues?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
It's so
I do. And it's such a friendly stadium as well.
Yeah,
Stockport County.
it is. Not for the away fans though,
No,
because they refuse to put a roof on it, so we get piss wet through.
Yeah.
We stood there for 90 minutes getting absolutely lashed on.
Yeah, well, you know the option, don't you? Don't come.
Yeah, don't come.
I've got to admit, like, obviously, like, I openly said on the podcast a few times, like, I'm not massive into football, but I do enjoy going. I do enjoy like the atmosphere. And I went with you, didn't I, the first Grimsby game after COVID. And like, I've been to Old Trafford a lot over the past 30 odd years.
Yeah.
And it was a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was like, people had the fish thing that they had.
Yeah.
It was the drummer there, and like everything was just like. Do you know what I mean? The crowd, the players were reacting to the crowd.
It's so intimate as well.
Well, it is. Yeah. It's like we spoke a few times with other guests on here, like that with comedians, where you play, a big arena or you play like a smaller kind of hall, and it's that kind of thing. You play the smaller venues, you're interacting with the crowd more, and you can feel that at Grimsby.
It's more personal, isn't it? It's like I was saying to Jordan, one of our friends last night. We were saying the thing is with Grimsby, it's like I went to a fan forum the other night, and it was like there was the 2 owners of the club, the manager and the CEO of the club, and like probably 200 Grimsby Town fans at the ground in one of the suites, and it was like I feel like big teams, particularly like Liverpool, Manchester United and Man City, they don't get that sort of intimacy with the club. And
they don't care.
Yeah, it's all about money.
Of course it is, yeah. I mean, you look at the Glazers, they don't care about the fans, because if they did, they'd have sold the club years ago. Yeah. You look at, I think it's muddied up with Liverpool, the amount they've done for the surrounding area, new training ground, new stand, everyone kind of, for a period of time, went, these are great. And then when they realised that actually that either they're spending the money in the wrong places, or they're not prepared to part with their own cash to make profit for the club, which for me as a non-huge businessman makes sense, that if the club makes profit from the players and the shirt sales and stuff, then you make profit somehow along the line. Yeah. Rather than just taking money out of the club like the Glazers have done for the last 10, 15 years. Yeah. And buying it on a debt, buying it with a loan, like how can you do that? That's not football, that's business. And that's why I then started to go, when VAR came in, it was just, and VAR and the European Super League, it suddenly just made me go, I haven't been to Anfield for I think this is the second season now I haven't been, but County last year I went to like 12 home games.
Well, I saw on your Instagram because you went to the game because County won the league the year that Town got promoted through playoffs. Yeah. And I remember seeing on your Instagram at the last game of the season when they got promoted. Yeah. And I thought, he was a Liverpool fan. What's he's going just because he's on the back of the success for Stockport? Yeah. But now it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because you've fallen out.
Well, can I just say that they've not been in the football league for 30 plus years or thereabouts. Yeah. Might be a bit less than that. I buy 2 season tickets, and in the first season they get promoted.
There you go.
So, you know what I mean?
Technically they owe me. Yeah.
And have you been going to most games?
Well, no. To be fair, this year, because it was one of those things where it was just like having to, the same as everyone. I think everyone gets this impression that you do these kind of TV shows and you do acting and you're suddenly a millionaire instantly overnight. And
what, are you not?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not far. I think I've got a couple of zeros to go and I'm there. Maybe 4 or 5. But no, like, there was things that I had to cut back on, and obviously, like having a son now and stuff where he's not at the age where you can share that experience with him. And I was constantly having to find people to take the tickets and stuff, and like I kind of bumped it up and did the whole sort of sit down and have a meal and listen to the players and have a compare and betting and games and stuff before, just to make it a little bit more sort of fun. I originally got it for me and my dad, and my dad's not so good on his feet anymore, so he couldn't come and then walk that far, so I just thought, do you know what, let me give it to somebody who's going to be able to do it. And I said to the lady who sorted it out, I said, I'm going to have to give it up this year, and I know it's only been 1 season, I do want to pick it up again, but I'm coming on my own sometimes, and I did it for my dad, and now his feet aren't so good, so he can't walk on his feet. He's 88, my dad, so he can't walk that far, so I was like, it's just taking the fun out of it, and I'd rather somebody, she went, listen, don't even worry about it, we've got a waiting list, as long as my arm, you can't, so I gave it up, but you know, I still go to the odd occasional game when I can and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Is Albert going to be a County fan or Liverpool?
Well, I mean, if we're still living in this area, yeah, because you know, loads of I used to sort of play for the academy for a couple of years there, and when I was really into football, and I'd love him to really be into football, and I'm doing everything to make.
I know you
happen.
are, yeah.
But you know, he does love it. He loves it, and he's at the age where sometimes he'll pick it up with his hands and it infuriates me. And then other times he'll go and kick this ball and like, I was a 16-month-old just done that.
Yeah,
great
mate.
finish.
My little boy, he can dribble.
Yeah, really.
And he can roll. He's rolling it over his foot and that.
Yeah. Well, he's following the instructions, so if he gets that. But I think the thing with it is like, you know, I'd love him to experience what I experienced. So my first game, this is how I can remember it. You know, when people.
What was your first game?
So my first game was Steven Gerrard's first game against
Blackburn.
Blackburn.
So it was a Liverpool game.
Yeah. Oh no,
I
sorry.
didn't know if it was a county game.
So my dad used to work at Man City at Main Road, so he was a compere comedian, but he'd work at City on the Saturday or the Sunday, and then on the following day when City were much lower down before they got all that money and you know, whatever, he used to work there on the Saturday, so sometimes I'd go with him because it was effective for my childminder. And I remember these days where like he'd sort of just sit down there with Sean Goat and just wait there while I go and do this and be like, you know, kind of looking at him, not a clue, and then I'd go, right, do you want to go and watch the game? I've got to rehearse for the second half. So he'd sit me down and just sort of sit and watch this game, and this was the times when they were getting beat 4-1 by York City, you know, before the. So I just sort of, I thought, so I was watching these games and I wasn't interested in it, and I definitely didn't want to go to United because all my mates hated United at school.
Yeah.
And then my uncle Seamus, who's not my uncle, he's just been around for that long. He used to have 2 season tickets at Anfield, and he said, and I don't know if you remember it was called Hero to Zero. It was a TV programme Michael Owen was in as he was. I don't know how it was allowed, but he was playing for Liverpool, and then he was the star of this Hero to Zero with this kid who wanted to be Michael Owen. And each week,
it was similar to the Wayne Rooney Street Striker.
No, it was a programme. It was like a kids drama type thing, kids TV show, and he was in it. He would only appear in it every now and again, kind of thing. But it was all about sort of Michael Owen and this kid wanting to be Michael Owen and all this. You'd probably be able to
Michael Owen of all
YouTube.
people.
I know. But then there was this one time where like this kid threw the ball to him as if Michael Owen, being a number 10 or a number 9, takes throw-ins.
Yeah.
This kid threw the ball to me and cheers mate, and turned around and he throws the ball kind of thing, and it was like, oh my god, he met Michael Owen. So I fell in love with that TV show. And a funny story about it actually. So my uncle got me this Michael Owen kit to wind my dad up kind of thing, and my dad said take him in if he likes it, you know, he can do it, which was far too lenient for me. If my son came back and said I want to go to United with me, you're not going anywhere mate near that stadium unless it's in the away end. But then so then we went to Old Trafford once. My uncle at that time he was quite well off, and he knew a few people, and he went, do you want to go downstairs? It was at Old Trafford. Do you want to go downstairs and meet some of the players? So I was like, what? Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So then Michael Owen must have done a post-match interview, and he walked down the corridor, and I was like, oh my god, I could feel my hands shaking. I was like, that's Michael Owen. And my uncle Seamus turned around to him and he went, oh Michael, can you just get a picture? He went, not right now, and walked off. And I went, oh no, I've supported Liverpool for you and you're a dick.
Have you met him since?
No, I haven't met him since. No, I'm not sure he'd remember it. I'm not that bothered about him now because he's played for United, so he can fuck off. But then after it, I'd fallen in love with Liverpool. Anyway, and I remember walking up the steps to it, and it was perfect. My uncle Seamus had timed it. Wait for You Never Walk Alone's kick in. Walked up the stairs, got to the top, and it was.
I remember when we played
shaking. There. Yeah.
I remember when we played there. You was like kid in the candy shop. Did you score?
No, I didn't.
I
didn't.
When you played where at Anfield?
We played at Anfield.
Anfield.
Yeah.
But what really struck me was that these balls were like, because I was playing up front and I was dying to score, even though there was no crowd really. You know, like I was dying to score, to score.
Yeah.
I'd done loads in the warm up. Oh my god, like top right, top left, crossbarring in the lot.
Yeah.
But then came to the game and didn't. And what actually really made me think, as the groundsman was there, and I was talking to him after it, really boring conversation I had with him, but he was talking about how they lever the pitch with water and then fork it, so it's basically like ice.
Yeah, it fizzes, mate.
These balls were coming in like, I remember I think it was Kel Spellman, or one of the sort of younger lads.
I mean, Kent Riley didn't struggle. I think he got 3 and he come on as a sub. Yeah. So you can't really blame the pitch.
But that's it. He's a goal poacher. I know, can't blame the pitch at all. No, but the goals that he scored, everyone had enough by this point.
Everyone was knackered.
Whereas first 45, everyone was up for it. And someone, it might have been Jack McMullen as well, put this ball across, and I watched him kick it, and suddenly I just looked at it and it had gone
past
and
you.
It was that fast. I thought, how did they put it?
Mate,
It's no wonder they're professionals.
Absolutely beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole day was. It was good. I ended up getting put at right back, I think, which I've never played in my life.
No.
And I remember, like, the ball, I remember seeing the ball in front of me, and I'm one of them, like, if I'm going to go for a challenge, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
And I remember putting my head down and sprinting and rolling my foot over the ball.
Yeah.
And just as my foot went over the ball, I looked up, and because there was a lady playing on their team, wasn't there?
Yes.
And my foot went over the ball and went straight through her knee and just clattered her. She was squealing, and I was like, I look like a scumbag because I went in hard. Not intentionally.
You are a scumbag.
Yeah,
Well, we know that,
yeah.
But I remember just the poor lady like screaming, and I was like, "Oh God!"
'Cause that was the lady that you said I'm going to smash her first five.
Yes, it was. It was indeed. Yeah, because they was referees, and we was playing against like the Liverpool,
the FA,
something to do with that, wasn't it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just got it in early for VAR.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
yeah, fair enough.
But the so VAR, so Grimsby played Southampton last week.
Yeah.
Last week to us now. Whenever this goes out, I don't know. But we beat Southampton 2-1, and we got 2 penalties because of VAR. They had 2 goals disallowed because of VAR.
Right.
And also they had a pretty plausible penalty shout as well. Got disallowed of VAR. So I'm on the opposite end of the scale.
Which is
VAR for me has created history for our club. But because we don't have to deal with it every week, it's like...
Is it weird though, like you say, because again, coming as like not a massive football fan, like Danny says, it's sort of ruining the game a little bit because...
It is.
10 years ago or whether pre-VAR, you'd have just lost that. You'd have gone home, you'd have been, sore.
Yeah, it'd have been 2-2.
Or,
yeah.
Well, 2-1,
would have won on
you
penalties.
drew it.
Yeah, it would have
like,
won on penalties.
Does it not feel less of a win now? Even though you're celebrating it and buzzing, like you say, great, we're all town. Great for Grimsby
We are all town.
to be in that position. Does it not feel, for hearing what Danny's saying, it's kind of ruining the game and that, does it not feel a bit like...
Well, it's because we don't experience it every week. That's the thing. It's like...
Because you've not got it in the lower league. You were explaining to me.
No,
you
we
don't have it in the lower league.
yeah.
So it's only in what league?
It's only in the Premier League. It's only in like top flight.
Top flight.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
But they...
Championship have got it on.
And is that due to,
No,
obviously...
I don't think they have that.
Is that due to costs and stuff?
Yeah,
well,
just
going on costs, so the chairman of Grimsby, Jason Stockwood, one of them, he did an interview after the game, and he said that they received an email before the game demanding that Grimsby Town needed to pay £10,000 in order for the usage of VAR. I'm assuming for the officials, blah blah blah. And the chairman at the end of the game said that's the best fucking £10,000 we've ever spent.
Yeah, well, I suppose
because it's in us. God knows how much money. But it's just so like the only thing is with VAR is I don't really watch much Premier League, but it's so inconsistent.
Well, it is. Well, this is the thing, and there was one like two weeks ago, which was it denied Arsenal 2 points. They ended up drawing the game.
Yeah.
Because the guy who's doing the VAR, which for me is like,
Wasn't
you've got
watching.
your cameras and stuff here. It's like your camera operator just forgetting to turn the camera on, and you're going,
Oh, that's
I've just
happened.
wasted an hour. Well,
That's happened.
Well,
Lloyd
still,
Griffith, I think it was the 3rd time that we got him because of our own fault.
Well, there you go. But
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
So as a professional, him kind of just going, that was great. That got an hour and 45 minutes or whatever long. It was brilliant. That we didn't record any of it. What? You had one fucking job. We were stood here doing all the talking. You just had one job to do that kind of thing. For me, like he forgot to draw the lines on, so there was never going to be any offside because there was no lines to say who's on and who's off. So that cost Arsenal 2 points, which technically wouldn't really get them back up 4 years ago.
Yeah. No. So if it gets to the end of the league and they lose it by 2 points or 1 point,
they've been done over by VAR.
it's going to be VAR that's done that, and that's going to
But
cost.
the FA and Howard Webb and all these players and referees and officials that all go around to the grounds and train about VAR. Well, who's getting in trouble for that? Because the next week he was on as the referee, so he wasn't punished. It's like if a player goes through 2 feet, challenge and snaps someone's leg, he's either getting banned for the season for foul play and or he's at least getting 3-game ban because it was a dangerous challenge.
Yeah.
So he gets punished for it, but the person who's then gone and done this VAR mistake and cock up
is there no punishment?
Straight back onto VAR. All they do is take him off VAR duty and put him on field duty instead. So where's the punishment? Because either way he's still doing his job, he's still getting paid, whereas the other person is going to get snapped his leg. Right, well, you're getting fined 4 weeks, which now can be £1 million.
Yeah.
4 weeks wages you're getting fined, and you're banned for 3 games. So there's no punishment for the officials, but there's punishment. They don't have to do post-match interviews. They don't have to stand there
That's
and
the
say
thing,
somebody goes, you made a really rubbish decision on the 18th minute. You sent him off. He didn't even touch him. VAR said he didn't touch him, but you stuck with your decision. Why? They don't have to anybody
They've
to answer to.
they've got no one to answer.
So they don't have to stick with the decision of VAR. Either.
They can overrule the VAR
yeah,
decision.
they can overrule.
What's the
So
point?
what's the point?
Yeah.
Because they can go and have a look at it on the box, and they'll have a look, and they're talking in their ear, and that's the other thing in rugby. You can hear what they're saying to each other.
That's
So
the thing.
at least if we can go, no, but just have a look, just go back. You see that there? That's where the contact made. Then everyone would be in the right mind to go, well, you can hear him talk about it, and then he says it in your ear and says, yeah, but look at the contact. That's where he catches his shin. It's a dangerous challenge. It's a red card. He can then kind of go, no, I'm happy, and run off and just go no and leave it. Or if he books him, then it means that the VAR can't come in unless it's going to be a potential red.
Yeah,
so they can't book him to go, it's not a yellow card. So it's only on-field mistakes or
It's
it can only it's such a grey area that it just ruins it because you cheer twice. You go, yes, and the first one's always like, yes, unless it's just a screamer from 35 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're cheering kind of thing. But then if it goes to VAR, you cheer second time. But it's never as loud and it's never as fun.
No, the feeling's not the same, is it?
Yeah.
The VAR decision that was given for Grimsby, so one of the Southampton defenders turned round and smacked with the back of his hand, just like a lash out, but on one of our players' backs.
Yeah.
Our player felt that, made an absolute meal of it.
Yeah.
Very clever from me,
Yeah.
because the rules say that if you intentionally strike someone,
Yeah.
that's a foul,
Yeah.
and he did it in the box, and it
Yeah.
was a penalty.
Yeah.
But should that not have been a red card as well? If you intentionally strike someone, but if me and you were squaring up and I headbutt you,
Yeah.
like, that's a red card because
Yeah,
I'm
of course it is,
intentionally
yeah.
striking you. But they never sent him off. Yeah, we got the penalty, but should he have been sent off as well?
Well, this is the other thing about, you know, how theatrical, and you see so many, like, TikToks. And
I mean,
stuff
Danilo
now.
Orsi could have been killed. He could have been killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see the challenge.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely Google it after this.
Yeah, I'm going to show you it after. It's brilliant.
But, yeah.
That's the thing I love about football is who was you playing?
Southampton.
Like that, if you were a Southampton fan, you'd have a complete I've always loved that
view.
about football.
Yeah.
How the same people can, and that's right from the World Cup to your local team, whatever.
Yeah.
The opposite fans can be watching the same exact clip and
Yeah.
have two completely opposing.
Did you
views.
think the VAR was used better at the World Cup though? And although
Yeah, I do.
The
And the
officiating
only reason
as a whole, I thought was better.
Yeah,
at
it
the World
was,
Cup.
and I do in a way because also at the end of it, you know, like you'd suddenly go plus 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that's how long it's taken, whereas it takes 4 or 5 minutes to get a decision. They go, no, we're happy with it anyway. You go, well, what a waste of time. And at the end, you go, 3 minutes added time.
Yeah.
How? We stopped playing for...
And
I've stopped
also-
my watch. So where's the other 3 come from then?
And also, when the ball goes out of play for 30 seconds
Yeah.
in that added time, they're adding that back on, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
We get it a lot in league. You'd have seen it at Stockport.
yeah.
When teams are grinding for that 0-0 draw at
Yeah.
Stockport, like they will because they're a good team.
Yeah.
But like they put on 4 minutes. Like their goalkeeper will go down with cramp for
Yeah.
a minute. That minute's not added back on.
No.
Whereas it should
It'll
be.
finish
because
at
it's-
94,
Yeah,
yeah.
it should be
Yeah.
4 minutes play.
Yeah.
I mean, which is what I thought the World Cup and the officials did really well there.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, another one about it for me, which at the weekend was like even Liverpool beating United 7-0, which is historic.
Yeah, no, it's never
It
happened.
never happened.
Did you watch it? I bet he was buzzing, wasn't he?
Well, to be fair, it genuinely was the first sort of game I'd watched in 5 or 6 games. I listened to them or I'll keep up to date on the app, but whereas 3 or 4 years ago I was diehard, nothing came
wouldn't
before
miss it.
football. I wouldn't come. If I was, and it was like my dad when we were kids. He was a diehard Catholic. Even on holiday, the first thing he'd do is put his bag in and go and find a local church.
I'm like that with Grimsby.
So when I used to be on holiday, I'd put my bag in, I'd go and find a local pub. Are you playing the game on Tuesday? Yeah, brilliant. Can I book a tape? So I'd be militant with it.
yeah.
Whereas now I'm just like, oh, whatever. But I was sat home with Albert and Steph, and I had the game on, and I was watching it, kind of thing. Never in a million years did anybody think it was going to be 7-0. And I know, Gary Neville said they didn't play well, which to me was just bizarre. But anyway, there was a moment where the big French centre back Canate for Liverpool was running, and he fends off Fernandez with his hand, which is perfectly allowed in football. You can hold a player off. As long as you don't do that or that, you can hold a player off, and that's exactly what he did. And as he's running with the ball, Fernandez gets hit here, and Gary Neville talked about it, and it was disgusting. Got hit here, and he went down like this, and he's a little bastard anyway. Fernandez.
The way he acted on Sunday confirmed.
Just doing all this and then telling him
pushing the linesman,
pushing him. He got away with it. But anyway, they checked it for a possible red card because they thought he'd done that.
Yeah.
So they checked it. Check complete, no red card. Right. So does that not then mean that he's dived?
Yeah,
and you're not giving a foul or a card because he's done that not that. So why has he not been booked for it?
Well, that's what I mean.
lying,
It's
for
what
lying,
I mean with,
yeah.
like the consistency of it. Like going back to that hitting our player in the back. You've intentionally struck him. Like it's a booking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've given the foul or whatever, so that should have been a booking for that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, they make the decisions, but they don't follow up on it like they should. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know, sometimes I think that they overrule decisions that shouldn't be overruled, or I don't know. It's just
That's exactly. I think the FA overrate it, and a lot of, I'd say 70% of the fans hate it, because you're getting the decisions at the end of it, but it's so inconsistent. It's such a stalk in the football game. It just.
Did you say as well, like because you used to play football, like we've played together for years, haven't we? For Once Upon a Smile. Can you not be asked to play anymore as well?
I don't mind. I don't mind playing it. Yeah, I like playing it. I mean, for the last 2 or 3 years, I had 3 years ago, I had a bit of quite a bad car crash on the motorway. I was fine, other than my back was knackered, and still sometimes is if I overtrain and stuff, which is annoying. Because then I like to eat food and drink beer and put the weight on, because I can't go to the gym because I'll do one run, or I'll do one session at the gym and suddenly my back's fucked for a week. So I just kind of go, right, I'm just not gonna go to the gym, kind of thing, which has its thingies. But for me, it's now you're playing a version of the game, which is what I was saying to you. You know, we're playing football on a Sunday, but effectively the top tier football teams are playing a different version of what we're playing, because the referee's only got one, and the assistant manager's one linesman, and then your mate's mum's the other linesman, and they haven't got a clue when they're calling offsides and stuff. And that's actually what makes it fun. You like, because you end up shouting at them, going, how can he be offside? He stood 3 yards on, kind of thing.
What do you think?
So then they just go, let's just go to VAR, and then you go, well, what's the point in this game?
Yeah, and like you say,
it's run by video audio.
What do you think about people running the lines who are playing for the team? Like say we play Sunday League and we play for the same team and I'm on the bench.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, Tomo, run the line. I'm like, I don't get that, because it's like I could be cheating for him. Could easy be.
Yeah, but then we used to play all the time, and our assistant manager used to do it all the time. Because they can't afford it's Sunday League. You can't afford to pay. You have to all chip in for the referee
as well. Who'd be at Sunday League?
You've got to be off your head, or really bored, or just hate your wife, haven't you?
Just waking up on a Sunday morning getting peppered by 22. Dibs who can't really play footy, who haven't been to bed, just giving you absolute grief.
Well, it says something about the home life, doesn't it? That you'd rather that than just have your wife going, should we go to the garden centre today? You go, fuck it, I'd rather get shouted at by 22 for 14 quid.
Yeah, that's it. I love going and watching Sunday League though. Did you ever play Sunday League? Because when we played, you've got goals in you, haven't you? Like you played.
Yeah, I used to play to a decent standard, and then I found cider and fags and park and stuff, and I blew it over it, and I'd never made it professional, but I could have done all right at like a League 2 sort of thing. Well, I was with the county for 2 years, and I loved it, know, but it wasn't as interested in trying to be the cock of the school.
Who do you reckon's the best player for Sidley for Once Upon a Smile? I mean, we've got ex-pros. We've got actual Wes Brown. Wes Brown plays for us.
Well, exactly. Wes Brown plays for us. There's other players that we've had over the years, like Graham Alexander and
Frank Sinclair
kind of thing. But I don't think you can pick them, because it's like sort of sticking all of us on stage and then finding
Reece Douglas has got to be up there, hasn't he?
Do you know what the thing is with Reece? He's like a Sean Wright Phillips. He gets down the wing, he gets past people, he little step over, he's past people, you're like, oh yeah, brilliant, you're running with him.
Then he'll fall over his own feet.
And you're like, just square the ball, and we've got a goal. I'm right in front of goal. 9 times out of 10 I'm going to score, or the one out, maybe 8 out of 10. But whatever the other remaining numbers is, it's going over the bar, or I'm going to miss the ball and trip over it, and the whole crowd, because the crowd loved, for some reason, me missing. They loved it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, fine, but you go, square the ball, this is a goal. And he'd turn in, step over, and he'd just ping it, and then 1 in 20 would just hit the top corner, and you go, wow. But the other 19 would either end up as a throw-in, a goal kick.
He just shoots on the corner flags, and that.
I think I think personally, I struggle to find a player who's not professional who's as good as Nico Miralegro.
Nico's a decent player
because he gets stuck in, and he always reminds me of who did he used to? He'd always remind me of a Jack Grealish. He'd get fouled through the game. He'd be like, oh god, and he'd be up, do it. He'd work hard for the team. He was good at winding people up. On and off the ball.
Yeah, he's clever, isn't he? In that sense, he kind of gets.
But then also, you kind of look at him, and he's solid, isn't he?
Yes,
he's stocky and he's solid, I remember once, like, as a little bit of a laugh.
Just trying to track him down for a game's hard enough.
Well, I know, or just track him in general.
Yeah.
But I remember once sort of like he came over to say well done for scoring a goal kind of thing, and he pushed me kind of thing, went oh cheers and pushed it. He didn't move. And I was like, I bet he's a right little warrior underneath it.
He's a little warrior.
He just didn't move.
Is he from Wythenshawe?
No, he's not. No, he's I don't know, Manchester though.
He lives in Prestwich, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Does he?
yeah.
Well, I think, don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good lad as well. But luckily he plays with boots on because the rest of the time he spends with no shoes on, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he
he's into his like
Loves all
wild
that,
walking
doesn't he?
and
Which
yoga
surely
and all
you get a
that
twig or two in your foot still.
I know,
don't you?
yeah. I think
Glass
you have to build
everywhere.
it up, don't you? I think you have to like do it for a little bit and build up like the soles of your feet
Do
and
you?
stuff, and they eventually get a bit harder.
Like a match
And
on.
then you can, because I've seen some of his Instagrams and he's like walking like
Does he
in the
do
peaks.
wild walking and
He goes
stuff
like in
like
the
that?
Peak
Yeah,
District,
yeah,
like
yeah.
with no shoes
Does
on
he?
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Why?
It's really good for you apparently. Connect to the earth. And,
Get to the earth and
You not just hug a tree, it's easier.
Well, each their own, innit?
yeah. I believe in that. To be fair,
Yeah,
each their
yeah,
own.
yeah.
It's not something that would attract me.
No, I don't fancy that. Do you like hiking? I don't like hiking, really.
No, I don't really like exercise. But I just
See, I don't mind hiking because it doesn't feel much like exercise. He's kind of just walking and looking at nice stuff. You can have a little break here and there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't mind it. I'd give it
Yeah,
a
I'm
go,
all or
actually.
nothing with exercise. Like, I've either got to be... Like, I've got to be doing it all the time.
Yeah, you go
right?
into it.
I've
like
got
with
to go
golf
in.
now. You've
Yeah,
gone
like,
in and that's your...
but I can't just dip in and out.
I'd just
like,
be out of my depth with it. A lot of the time, we did it for a charity. We did like this Survive the Wild thing. It's called.
Yeah.
Which my Survive the Wild was that when the guys in there went into their little lodge to have their tea, who were running it, meant that I got in my car and went to the co-op and got a load of food for everyone. Whereas there's another
You
guy
still
called-
survived it.
Yeah, I
You're
did,
using
yeah.
the tools
I did,
that you've
that's
got.
it. I've got a car, but he just said the weirdest thing was he just said, right, imagine you don't have your car or anything like that. Well, I can't imagine it. I open my tent, the car's there, so I can't imagine it. But then there was another guy called Daz Conley who used to play for us, and he's like ex-boxer, he's an actor as well. He's like really good lad. And he was like, someone had to volunteer to sleep in the hammock because that was the idea of it, people got thought. He went, no, but I'll do it, no problem. Took this hammock, zipped it up against a tree, got in it, asleep like that.
I hate people who can do that.
But then this other guy who was running it, he walks up the mountains, right? And I weren't prepared for it whatsoever. I was in trainers, my back was killing, my knees were killing. I was just not made for this thing. Yeah, and it was just. So we kind of got to the top of this hill, and he just turned around, and it was like he was SAS, kind of thing, and he'd just go break. He goes, something I say to my dog, break.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. What do you mean break? And he'd just sit down. He'd take his backpack off, that then becomes a little table. Right, he gets all these compartments open, sort of thing. I was expecting it to just blow up and it's a house that he takes with him, but he takes all this thing, undoes the pockets, kind of thing, and he sat there with this meal.
Tuck it into it.
All I had left was half a tuna and cucumber sandwich from Co-op from the night before.
That's your meal deal.
Yeah, so that, I was kind of like, yeah, I've got it. Pulled it out, it's all wet and rang it. I was like, this just isn't for me.
Yeah.
You have to accept in life that some things aren't for you.
Yeah, there is
good
people
at
who
that.
are just good at being outdoors, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like Mike Soccer, who we've had on. Like, he's one of them.
Yeah,
He can just he's just walking.
Yeah.
Walks and walks and walks and walks. But he's saying he's got all the equipment. Like we've been hiking before, and he's whipping out all these things. He's making us like all kinds of like noodle pots and cups of teas at the top of the mountain. He knows what he's done. Why?
Yeah.
I don't mind at the odd hike, but like Kinder Scouts where I draw the line.
Yeah,
Done
well,
that
my
a couple
mate's
of
like
times.
I watch these things on TV all the time. They go and do like a lot of it's always someone like Robson Green on a boat, just talking shite to the camera, and then they do a bit of fishing and they get in and do it, and no one does it like Bear Grylls, do they? And always out of breath. Everyone's always out of breath.
Yeah.
So he gets his fish out and he's like, look at this. This is a 16 pound. And you're like, right, yeah, Sam, what are you going to do with that now? And throws it back in the thing. You're like, fucking what a waste of time.
Yeah,
and one of my mates is a really keen fisher, and he said to us once, you want to go fishing? So we went fishing with him. And he set it all up, it looked all nice, and it was all kind of like, he had his tent set up, and he had a little pot of gas thing with all this kettle on and all
like
that
stoves
kind of stuff.
and all that,
And
all
he's got
going.
a couple of cans in his cooler and sits down and he sets him. It must have took him an hour and 10 minutes to get set up. And he just got the thing, threw it like that, put it in, locked it off, put it like that, and sat there and went, what are you doing? And he went, fishing. I went, so you've done all of that? And then you put that in there, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he went, well, yeah, something will tug on it when it's there. I went, well, that's not fishing, is it?
No, but
That's just waiting, isn't
Do you know,
it?
it's
Like,
like,
You could book yourself into your local GP and go
Yeah.
and do the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Just
Just go
leave
sit
it.
there and wait for an
Because
hour.
surely once it's hooked on, it's hooked on. So What all you got to do is that. Like,
I think you got to give it a tug, haven't you, to get it on.
Andy, I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get in with the wellies and all that and throw it and what was that on my leg? No, none of that. Just
see
sit
the
down.
like
fishing
people
stuff
like
like
that,
that.
aren't the fishermen?
You've got to. To me, that's him switching off, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
which
him
is
going,
fair.
That's where I go.
Yeah.
And I just switch off. And same with like people who hike and that.
I'd like that with golf.
Switch off.
Switch
but
off
then,
playing golf.
Yeah, that's it. But then, for me, and by the sounds of it, like for you, like you do that, and you're like, where's the where's the challenge?
Yeah.
Where's the fun? Where's the
Where's
do you know
the
what I mean?
thrill of it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then you'll probably have something where you can just go, right, this is how I switch off, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you do to switch off?
Well, this was my kind of, I don't know when you wanted to drop this in, but this was my underrated subject. So I don't know if you want me to wait for that.
Oh, we'll do that on an exclusive little Patreon thing.
Yeah. Well, I reckon we've pretty much covered everything.
Yeah,
anyway.
man. Yeah,
About right for time anyway. Before we start waffling on too much.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Oh, mate, thank you for coming.
No, don't be daft. Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Appreciate it. It's buzzing that we finally got you on.
And if you do want to hear Danny's underrated subject,
yes,
get on the Patreon and
have
a listen on there.
That sounds like a shot. What's that?
It does Patron it,
right,
it does sound like it. Sweet, okay, nice one, we'll cut that there.
Nice one, mate. Appreciate it.
Another episode down.
Done and dusted.
Another lovely chat.
Another week out of the way.
Another week out of the way. Hope you're all having a fantastic week. Again, another lovely chat, and just nice to be doing the podcast, doing what we love doing, man.
Yeah, it's nice to be together, and it's nice to have it all sort of done professionally and comfortably, and I think it's really showing with the guests that we're getting on at the moment. And I think that the more that we can keep doing this, the more that we can provide for you listeners at home, the viewers that are watching on YouTube. There is a way that you can support us. If Andy would like to tell.
I will. You can support us in many ways. One of the main ways being we do have a Patreon account. If you can go on there, it's www.patreon.com/overrated everything. That just helps us to secure guests. You know, we want to be getting bigger and better guests from London and places like that down to the studio. Obviously, that costs money. And for a small fee each month, you guys can contribute towards that. And you'll get rewarded as well. What kind of rewards will you get, Thomas Turgoose?
Well, it depends how much they're willing to spend. No, we've got so much in store, haven't we? We've got we've got the lives coming up.
We've got lives,
I know
which
we've
is
promised over the
exciting.
years. Yeah, man. Yeah, I can't wait for all that. We've just got sort of behind the scenes exclusive footage that we're doing, and
got some bonus podcasts as well.
Some bonus podcasts with ourselves and with some guests.
Some of the guests.
Yeah, just sort of. But I guess as the more it goes on, the more surprises that we'll drop.
We want to have fun with it. We're creative people. We want to have fun. We want to be creative. We want to make some nice content for you guys.
Yes.
And keep that Patreon going over. But obviously, we ain't no fools. We know times can be hard for everyone. And so if you can't subscribe to Patreon, that's fine. That's cool. Yeah. What you can do, if you love the podcast, is like, subscribe, share, tell a mate as well. Yeah. Like, everyone's used to just going share. Like, actually sit in the pub or wherever you're meeting with your mates and socialising in the gym and just go, hey, have you heard that podcast? It's pretty good, you know. Yeah, get it on Spotify. Bam.
Play it really loudly when you're at a red light with the windows open.
Play it really loudly at red lights. Overrated Everything, the best podcast to play really loudly at red lights.
There you go.
If that's illegal, we're going to get sued.